All right, my friends, it is March the 24th, about an hour after the weekly open. Let's do the market outlook and plans for the week ahead. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into the Bitcoin high time frame. TLDR is I'm still super bullish across the board, but kind of expecting some degree of chop. So 69K is the immediate resistance right now, and 60K is the macro support. While we're in between these two levels, I expect that we should see some chop. If we accept over 69K, that is a trigger to create some fresh highs. But while we're below that, I think that we're going to see continued chop. I was having a conversation with Doc earlier today, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. We're about to enter into Q2 pretty shortly here. And historically, as we get into the summertime, there isn't too much momentum in the market. So I think that that's probably going to play out again this year. If you're interested in gaining access to the spaghetti template and learning how to properly utilize it, you should consider joining the Paragon group. So basically, if we're below 69K and above 60K, right? So if we're in this little range still as we get into the summertime, we're probably just going to continue to chop around low vol style in this area. So be prepared for that. It'll probably be boring, and it'll probably be a reason to take some time off and honestly, relax and go on vacation. So if we're in this bracket still during the summertime, I'm probably going to go on a bit of a vacation myself. If we get over 69K, like I said, that's a trigger to be, betting for fresh highs and trading up a lot higher into the 80s or so. If we lose 60K, that's pretty bearish. If we lose 60K, that means we're probably going down to the lower 50s. But I mean, yeah, not too much has changed. I'm still super bullish on the high time frame. I think that some chop during, later Q2 as we get into Q3 makes a lot of sense. Once we get into Q3, though, I think that momentum will probably return. To be clear, this is if we don't go ahead and just accept that above 69K here soon. If we just continue to chop it up, we'll probably continue that for a while. And, as we get around towards the winter time, that's probably when things will get really hot for us. That is the pattern that we've seen many, many times over now. So I think that it makes sense for that to play out a little bit. It becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy that the summertime is a little bit boring. Probably what will happen too, based off what we've seen in the past, is that specific sectors that are hot, currently RWA, memes, AI, those will probably do really well during the summertime, but Bitcoin will probably chop, if I had to guess. Again, the whole caveat to this is that as long as it's below 69K, we expect chop. So there isn't too much to cover on the higher time frame. I am still super bullish. Still have all my spot allocation. I think that it's just a waiting game. We're going to trade up higher, but it's just a matter of how long does it take for us to kind of chop people up, make people kind of give up. We've already kind of seen that sentiment shift. I know you guys have probably seen that on Twitter. A lot of people have been shaken by these moves that we've seen recently, and I've even seen a lot of the "is it over" kind of tweets and stuff. So we love that. Honestly, we want to see people's conviction start to get shaken, people start to hedge or sell their spot or whatever, and leave them sidelined. Seen a lot of calls for Bitcoin to trade lower, and that's where I'm gonna buy my spot at 40K or 50K or whatever. So that really gives me the confidence that we won't trade down that low. If we lose 60K though, that's kind of that trigger to look for lower prices. So that's pretty much it. Nothing has really changed on the higher time frame. Just basically, as long as we're below 69K, I expect that we're going to be chopping. If we stay below 69K into the summertime, then summertime's going to be really boring for us, and I'll be using that as an opportunity to, get away from the battle station for a little while and just, reset and recharge, etc. Let's go ahead and go to the medium time frame. I didn't draw this out properly, so I'll do that for you guys live right now. Basically, the argument that I'm going to present here is that we're triangle memeing really hard, right? So right now it looks like we're just compressing. Yes, we are struggling to get through that resistance that we had talked about, right? Anchor VWAPs, high volume node. This is definitely serving to be very strong resistance right now. But on the positive note, look at how we're setting higher lows, right? So this looks like a classic triangle meme. If we continue to chop it up and compress in here, then I think the likelihood of us breaking up start to get really high. The bull thesis is kind of in trouble if we start to lose this region, right? So Pay close attention to the 30-day rolling VWAP. That's starting to turn into support again, which we want to see. But if we lose 64K, that's going to be a trigger that will probably from there trade down into the 59, 60K region. If this macro support region gets lost, then we're trading a lot lower into the lower 50s at that point. So those are the kind of key levels for me, right? I'm going to be paying close attention to the rolling VWAP. I'm going to be paying close attention to 64K. If we lose 64K, I will almost certainly be making changes to my positioning to go more defensive. But while we're over 64K, I want to be risk on still. So that's pretty much it. I mean, again, this has been, our significant resistance zone right here. If we start to get above that, I'm going to be super bullish, expecting us to trade and, make fresh highs, basically targeting towards 80K at that point. First alt that I wanted to cover was going to be Solana. Solana has been an absolute monster performer. Very, very pleased with how this has played out. It's, really saved my portfolio during a lot of this kind of blood that we've had over the past couple weeks. Solana continued to trade up and really protected me from some of that pain. So the drawdown on my portfolio was a lot less painful because of Solana. So shout out to Sol. I think that everything about Solana is bullish still. Let's go ahead and go to the higher time frame chart really quickly. Right now we're looking at like 175 is basically macro support for that. So if it loses 175, it's going to trade down a lot lower. As long as we're continuing to wick into that and bounce back off of it, I think that we'll keep trading higher. Like I've said more than once, I don't really care about any of the resistances that was up here. 175 was the last major level for me to worry about. So basically I'm going to be looking at it as long as we are over 175, we should be expecting to take out the, all-time highs and to make fresh all-time highs. And, it's just a matter of when. Largely going to be contingent upon what Bitcoin does, right? If Bitcoin's healthy, Solana is going to have the all clear to trade higher. Next one to cover is going to be Doge. So right now, the main resistance for Doge is like this 19-cent region. I've talked about this a couple times. If Doge gets over 19 cents, it can trade up to 34 cents pretty easily. If it gets over 34 cents, then we're trading a lot higher. I'm going to keep memeing and saying that I'm going to be trying to sell my Doge at 420. I think that that's like an absolutely wild target, and it probably is not really that realistic. So I'll mainly be focusing on, selling it towards like $2. I think like 150 to $2 is the main area, and obviously the meme level of 169 is what I'm going to talk about a lot. But I mean, if Doge does this, it would be such a massive W. Like, I don't even need it to go to $4 for it to be a huge W, right? Just going to like, $1.50 is still a massive multiple. Going to the medium time frames really quickly, right? Anytime Doge is trading down into this 13 or 12 cent kind of region right here, I've been a buyer for it, so I have added more exposure. And yeah, I've got a fairly large bag right now. This is going to be significant resistance where it's getting rejected from right now. I would love to see the kind of third cap meme, like 1, 2, 3. I would love to see it be able to break this. And if Bitcoin can be healthy this week, then Doge breaking this resistance and going, up towards 34 cents is not that unrealistic. So, obviously don't have any control over how that plays out, but would love for that to be the case. So my Bitcoin plans and what to be looking for. Good luck out there, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.